First of all, congratulations on taking Solace. It's an amazing album. I just finished listening to it again just a couple of minutes ago. What was the process in writing this like? Because it is such a clean album and it seems like every song is very purposeful.
Oh, thank you. I will say minor correction. It's called Where the Darkness
Oh,
Bleeds.
sorry, yes.
That's the first track, Taking Solace. But the process of this was that some of the songs were left over from our debut album, and we recorded that with a producer in Seattle named Matt Bayles. He's kind of known for like he did a couple of the Mastodon records and the band The Sword, and worked with Soundgarden a little bit, and then some bigger like Northwest kind of bands. And we had these songs left over from
Mhm.
those sessions, and then but we kind of like repurposed them for this new record, and then wrote a couple more. And we realized that there was kind of like a general theme that was running through it, and it kind of had to deal with like pursuing love and then loss, and then kind of the specter of death that looms over all of us, and like what kind of happens in that transitional point in that moment before I guess we pass to the next whatever level or ascension is. And so the themes all kind of fit lyrically within that. And then we decided to write a couple songs that musically kind of represented that beginning journey, and then out. Like so, there's like a bookend intro song and out song that all kind of go together. And the production wise, though, we worked again with our friend Matt, and he's just spectacular, and so he really helped to make it full and kind of clean sounding, like you were saying.
Talking about those, the intro and outro track, uh, that was very fascinating to me. What was the decision behind those? Because uh, those really do like the intro track really brings you into the album and captures your attention, and that outro track is a fantastic way to just leave the audience wanting more.
Thank you. I got to say, I got to give credit to unfortunately he couldn't join us today. It's kind of in the midday of our work schedules, but our guitar player Ryan Fitch, he wrote those separately on his own and kind of brought those in. And after I think he kind of heard some of the other tracks, and I think he got in his mind kind of this idea of it all flowing together like
Mhm.
that. And they were kind of some things that he was sitting on, and I think he was just inspired by the process, and it kind of got this cool kind of like dark westerny kind of
Mhm.
feel and a little bit of like gothicy kind of feel to it, and it just tied together. And so I think we heard the beginnings of that. And then I also got to say, our drummer, we recorded this ourselves. Our
Mhm.
We had help from Matt in the mixing process and a little bit of the production, but our drummer recorded everything, and he really worked hand in hand with Ryan on these and helped kind of like fill them out and get them kind of like totally together in that way. But the initial thought process and idea came from Ryan first, and then we all just kind of contributed. And then, yeah, we think it turned out pretty cool. Like it works pretty well as this, like kind of like what you were saying, to bring you in, and then kind of like here's the end, and then what's next. And we're hoping this is kind of a EP or mini LP we're calling it, since it's a
Uh,
little more. And so we're hoping to continue that into the next full length that's being worked on right now.
that's incredible. With the band being so multi-talented, and it seems that you guys are able to collaborate on everything. How is that writing process? Is it easier to create music, or does it at times does it bring like a little conflict to what the music finally ends up being?
I think any collaborative thing, if you're on the same page, I got to say too, like a lot of us, we've been in various different bands
Mhm.
together for a really long time. This is probably like the third or fourth project that about three out of the five members have all done together. And so like we kind of know each other's quirks and how we work and things like that. And kind of just do where there's Ryan and then Ian, who are the guitar players in the bands, and they kind of come up with the main musical ideas. And then the rest of us
Mhm.
give our input to them. And I write the lyrics. I'm the singer in the band. And then we also have a collaborative effort of like I work as an illustrator and like an art director in the gaming industry. And so like I have a pretty like deep understanding of artwork and packaging and putting things together.
Mhm.
And then so they give ideas to me on that end, and then I work up that. And so we all kind of have this collaborative circle where somebody has like something that they're kind of the best at, but then we all help out each other and like, and then it ends up being like a group synthesis where it's, the whole is stronger than the individual, where all of us collaborate and put in like that. And that's same with the drummer recording us and putting in and so forth. And each of us have our, different lanes, but we all kind of come together to hopefully make a good, final presentation of the artwork.
That sounds incredible. And with your uh experience in the gaming industry, it makes a lot of sense why your lyrics are very story oriented.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, where does the inspiration for the lyrics come from? Is it more of your personal, or do you get opinions from the rest of the band on what the lyrics should be for each track?
Um, it's more personal. I think I like to start everything in something that is based out of in real life and then develop a bit of a story around it. But I like it to be grounded in reality because that's just I think whatever you're doing in artwork, you have to do, or in your creative expression, it has to be done with conviction and come from someplace real within your heart. And for me, so it has to have a grounding of some sort of experience that I've been through or my thought process. But then it's kind of, like you were just saying, it kind of becomes a little bit more story orientated just to make it a little more relatable, I guess, instead of just whatever internal focus is. And then I share them with the band, and most of the time they might have like Ryan on this, like he had a little bit of input, just kind of changes of words, maybe that would work better with the music or phrasing and things like that. But in general, they kind of let me just, be in charge of that. And then if they have any feedback, they'll kick it over and then we'll kind of work on it a little bit in that way.
Your vocals are quite unique, but at the same time, I just found them to be kind of reminiscent of like 90s metal, but more melancholic in a sense.
Or, yeah.
What are your vocal inspirations?
So, we're all from the Seattle area, so that like kind of is in our blood a little bit of that 90s kind of hard rock alternative metal scene, maybe in some ways without me even realizing it that that's just kind of become part of the musical DNA. And I really, like we spent a lot of time in like hardcore punk bands and like more extreme metal things too, kind of previous to this project. And I've been a vocalist in a fair amount and have done like harsh style vocals and things like that, but really wanted to focus more on kind of a singing thing. And I kind of realized from the get-go, I'm not like a guy like a Rob Halford or a Bruce Dickinson or a Dio or somebody who has like these soaring kind of like traditional metal operatic kind of high, epic vocals. And I was always kind of more drawn to like I love like Danzig and
Mm.
Sam Hain like that. And like I love the band The Cult, like Ian Astbury and like um just like more, I guess, like a little darker style, more in the baritone range. And then, yeah, like I really like a lot. And a big influence of this band too was kind of like some 80s like gothic rock, like Sisters of Mercy or Fields of the Nephilim and stuff like that. And those vocalists were more of what my personal inspiration is and what I'm more identified with. And kind of felt more of where my skill level was at. So I think it was just a combination of all of those things that kind of came together to develop the style that, I've kind of settled into in that way.
That's awesome. You named a lot of bands that I personally listen to very often. For you, getting into a group and having these people who are you're now friends with, how uh satisfying is it when you guys put out an album and you get positive response, which I'm more than positive this album is gonna get.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's a lot, it's a lot of hard work. So it's, you kind of, you spend all these times on these things and then you hope you put it out and you hope people like it or connect with it or find something in it that they can take for themselves or enjoy. And, things have been kind of slowly but surely building the more that we
Mhm.
do. And, we're excited for it to be fully released and we have like some bigger like kind of festival appearances coming up, and I think that I think we're all just anticipating, being able to go play these songs live and play them out and meet people and hopefully, as it is out, because it fully releases at the end of March. And then we're
Mhm.
hoping that, in the next 6 months or so that, yeah, that it's going to connect with some people. And of course, it feels good to have it out or once it does, but it feels good to have it done and to have people start to hear it and just, have opportunities to talk with people like you or anybody else that's getting some sort of, interest out of it or thinks it's cool. And, that's kind of, there's the part of like where, we do this because in some ways we have to. We've done it for a long time, and it's kind of just who we are as people. And we all have our creative expressions, and this is the one that we work on together. And so, one way or another, I think we'd be doing it regardless. But of course, the hope is that it connects with people, and that we can just have that experience of sharing it and people enjoying it and having kind of the circular relationship of
Mhm.
just, artist and I don't want to say consumer, but the whoever is out there enjoying it and kind of have that symbiotic exchange.
Mhm. And talking a little bit about playing live, how's that the difference with and how do you feel when you go out there and play it live as opposed to playing these songs in the studio?
I think live is kind of where it's all about, if you can. It's that is where everything comes to life. And that's where, all these years of practicing and things like that. And like, of course, it's a different experience than something that you listen to or when you're playing it in the studio where you have, you can keep redoing a take to try to get it right. Or, you can add a lot more to it. There's always this more stripped down element in live, but that's when you're having a good show and there's crowd reaction or and it's that shared energy exchange between people, that's kind of the whole reason to really be doing it in the end. And like I said, some of us, the core, kind of this band initially started with me and the two guitar players, Ian and Ryan,
Mhm.
and we just kind of wrote a lot of songs all together. And then we brought in our drummer Will, and on this record, our old bass player John was on it, but we currently have a new member whose name is Rachel, she's been bringing a lot to the table, but she didn't really wasn't part of these writing
Mhm.
processes on this, but that I was just saying our shared background of where we kind of started from the punk scene was
Mhm.
like where it was really visceral and in your face a lot more. And so that crowd reaction, that line between band and crowd was very blurred. It was kind of like, you were very much together in it. And I think as we've gotten a little grown musically and started playing a little different styles of venues and things like that, trying to keep that feeling of like this is a whole group thing that we're all in together
Mhm.
and shared experiences, the key, but is also like where a lot of the enjoyment's been coming from.
It seems like you have a lot of trust in your band. Do you still get nervous before for a show, or are you guys at the point where you guys have enough trust in each other that you know you will do a good job when you go out there?
I mean, I definitely trust everybody that's in my band. They're all great musicians, but I think you should always be a little bit nervous beforehand. Just that anticipation and that kind of helps get you hyped up a little bit and
Mhm.
raises the energy levels. And like I think you just also you want to be able to like, because playing live too is a entertainment, and you want to make sure that like you're delivering like a good show to people
Mhm.
and that they're feeling it and that energy exchange is up because that's what makes a good show. Like when you can feel it from the people in the crowd and they feel it back and it's a reciprocation between one another. That's like where it really starts to elevate. But it always gets a little nervous. I was gonna say our bass player who joined the band,
Mhm.
she joined right before we went, and our previous record was released down in Mexico, and we had some bookers bring us down.
Mhm.
And we played this festival down there called the Candle Album Festival, and it was a pretty massive metal fest, and we helped open it up. And she played one show with us beforehand,
Wow.
and in Seattle, and then flew down, and then so her pretty much introduction to the band was just in a different country in front of a giant crowd and just right off the bat. So I know there was some, some nervousness there, but she delivered and we all did and it ended up good. But, you never know how these things are going to, work out in that way.
Definitely. And the way music is released now, interaction and fan feedback is very direct.
Totally.
How does that affect you personally and the band?
I mean, I think that you just have to have, like I was saying, belief and conviction in what you're doing first, and that it's coming from a true place, and that it's what you wanted to express. And then after that, you put it out and you hope people are into it. But, if people, criticism is fine. That's everybody has their own opinions and not everybody's going to like everything. But, with the internet and the way that things can be, people can be really, they might say things to you that they would never say to your face.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of a problem, I think, in general. But for stuff like that, you just got to let it roll off your back and, just move on or whatever. And best not to even engage, or because you're never going to make all the people happy all the time. But, positive feedback or, good critique or
Hmm.
positive criticism, that's great. Anything that provides a good insight, to somebody else's thought process of what you're working on, I think is you can take into your own and think about it if it's a valid point. And but overall, you just got to take everything with a grain of salt, I think. So
Definitely. Well, this album is incredible, and thank you very much for your time.
cheers, man. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, I hope you have a good one and looking forward to seeing this out in the world.